Thank you very much. We are waiting on Coach Paul Williams. He had some business to take care of, and I know he just had an extensive conversation with Don Bailey Jr. We urge you, welcome you to send your questions in to hurricanesports.com. Paul Williams, defensive back coach, will be here momentarily. Came over with Coach Al Golden from Temple, and I believe we got the number now. We're saying in our room we're up to 13. 13, including the two early entrants, Thomas Finney and Olsen Pierre. Kevin Grooms, running back, defensive back, special teams player from South Broward High School, was the latest to commit. Prior to that, Dallas Crawford, a defensive back from South Fort Myers High School. So we'll talk to Coach Williams more about Mr. Crawford. Of course, Thomas Finney from Central, also a defensive back that helped bolster the secondary with Brandon Harris departing to the NFL, with the draft coming up in April. So we will talk to Coach Williams, or maybe they'll bring us somebody else. We don't know. We'll see. We're waiting on. He was like one step. He had like 1 foot in the door, and then the phone rang. So we are waiting on Coach Williams. We've spoken with Michael Darrow, has been in here. Coach McDonald has been in here. Joe and Don, if you're watching on All Access on hurricanesports.com, they've had plenty of people roll through. Plus, they got the nice visual behind them. They've got the depth chart with all the current players, and then they're I guess they're not penciling, and they've got the red Sharpie for all the fresh faces coming in here on signing day. We've got Lindsay manning our Cover It Live chat and chat on hurricanesports.com, I believe, right? Yeah, thanks, Linz. And so bring your questions in, and we will ask them. It's your chance to look. I'm just the mediator here. You know, bypass me and write to the coaches. Ask them whatever is on your mind. And yes, sir, come on in. I'm running out of material here, Coach. Come on, sit down. We're live. This is live internet broadcasting. Josh Darrow, pleasure to meet you.
Paul Williams.
Coach Williams. All right, so we're going to take some questions. I heard you talking to Don Bailey Jr., and we got a couple guys to bolster the secondary, right? So here's the first question. Could you see Kevin Grooms playing safety? I'll maybe expand on that thought. He was a two-way player, right, in high school?
Yes.
And he played in the secondary. So could he end up in your position meeting room?
I mean, he will be. I mean, we're recruiting him as a corner.
Okay.
You know, just because he's a dynamic athlete with good feet and good hips. I think he's going to.
So then that's a more definitive answer.
yeah, and he's fast. So I mean, he's a corner in our package.
Okay, so I know in speaking to him, the one thing he likes the ball in his hands. He's a dynamic special teams player at South Broward High School, so he could be a game changer on either side of the field. Could he? I mean, he could be a guy that could really be a
I mean, yeah, he's athletic enough. Again, I mean, we recruit him as an athlete.
Right.
As far as I'm looking at it, he could play corner, but I mean, he's coming in with the ability to play running back or wide receiver. So.
But you've seen the film on him on special teams, I'm sure.
Oh
right?
yeah, he's
when I said ball in his hands, he was like, look, put me back on returns. I'll make a play in the secondary. He wants to make plays.
He's a dynamic athlete that Coach Golden loves to recruit those guys where they can play multiple positions, you know. So, I mean, it's whatever. It's going to be the best fit for him. In my eyes, I would see him as a corner.
You'll be running up to Coach saying, look, he's mine.
Yeah. So.
He's mine. What kind of attributes did you see from him when you saw him that gets you excited about him playing in the secondary?
He's just got great hips and he can run. I mean, that's the number one thing you look at when you're looking for a corner. You know, he can flip his hips, he can run.
I'm taking notes for myself.
Yeah.
So if he can flipping hips and turn, that means he's got to keep up with the wide receivers.
And he has great athletic ability. So.
I know you got really two guys that'll be in your room from South Florida, right? Because you got a Dade guy in Thomas Finney and a Broward guy in Kevin Grooms, and plus you go across the state for Dallas Crawford. Kind of how they all fit into how you see them? I mean, preliminarily, how you see them fitting in at this point?
Dallas,
during the recruiting process, I should say.
Well, Dallas is just a really, really good athletic kid that he was the defensive player of the year the last 2 years in that league. You know, so I mean, it just speaks volumes. He's a very competitive, athletic kid that I think would come in and compete at the corner spot for us. You know, but he's really, like, he'll hit you. Like, he's really the complete package. You know, very athletic, and again, he's also a basketball player, so he's really quick feet and good athlete. So I see him as a physical corner. If you watch him, he'll come up and hit you.
Yeah, you gotta like that part. You guy that can flip his hips, but a guy that's willing to get their nose dirty and get in there and make a tackle.
Yeah, we don't recruit cover corners. You know, we don't recruit cover corners. So
the guys that are going to be physical and play.
Absolutely.
And as Thomas Finney from Miami Central fit in there as well.
He is I think last year he was second in the state in 100 meters. He's a very fast kid, you know, so he's fast and dynamic. I mean, he has speed that you can't coach, you know, and that's when you're recruiting corners, that's a major priority. You want to recruit a guy with speed first, but he's not a track guy. He'll hit you too. So again, I mean, I think those guys will really complement our secondary, you know. So they'll add some depth and they'll compete. You know, they'll compete with the opportunity to come in and play.
You know, it's funny. We had Coach D'Onofrio in here and Michael Darrow in here, and the one thing that's been made pretty clear, Coach, is that it's, you know, open competition.
Yeah, absolutely.
And it's not just, you know, fresh faces don't mean you're sitting on the sideline. If you can play and they show you that they're capable, why not?
Absolutely. Again, like I say, in this profession there is no favoritism. You're going to play the best kid that gives you the ability to win. You know, and you come to a school like the University of Miami and you want to talk about competition. I mean, competition at the highest level. You know, you're getting a lot of great athletes in here, and you're going to let them compete. And at the end of the day, whoever the best, whatever few guys are, those are the guys that are going to play.
With Coach Williams here on Ustream, HurricaneSports.com, insight and all access all day long. We're taking questions from the fans, so if we hit you with something that maybe you just tell me to pass, and I will. But someone, Ohio Kane, wanted to know about Eddie Johnson from Atlanta, Georgia. Is there anything you could tell us about him?
He's a great athlete, big kid, great athlete, can play multiple positions. So again, when we recruit an athlete, it's a guy that you're not 100% sure of what position he is, but you want him on your team, and he can play multiple positions, you know.
When Coach Michael Barrett said, just call him Coach D, Coach D'Onofrio, but I can get that. It's my job to be able to pronounce that. But the one thing he talked about, we had a couple people ask fan questions on the chat. They want to know about the defense, 4-3 or 3-4, and Coach said, I don't mean to be vague, but the one thing he kept on talking about, you're talking about multiple positions with your athletes, but he said with your defense that you want to be multiple. So it seems like to fit those kind of schemes, it only makes sense that you want to have athletes that could fit in different spots.
Yeah, you never want to say, hey, I'm this or I'm that, you know, because, again, you don't know completely what you have, you know. So, I mean, that's why you want to be multiple. And once you figure out what your guys can do best, then that's what you'll become, you know. But you don't ever want to tie your hands.
Like he's this, and that's it.
So.
In terms of, you know, maybe you've worked with Coach Golden and, you know, Coach D and up in Temple, and talk maybe as much as, without giving too much away, about what you guys try and accomplish defensively.
Don asked me that question earlier, and the biggest thing we want defensively is we want our kids to play with passion. We want our kids to run to the ball, and we want to be great tacklers. And if you can start with that, I think everything else will come together. But that's the biggest thing. We want our kids to have energy, to be great tacklers, and play with passion, and then everything else will come together.
All right, Coach Williams, we appreciate you taking the time. Are we done with the fan questions over there? We are done with fan questions. We appreciate the time, Coach Williams. Get back at it. Congratulations so far.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
All right, there you go.
You guys have a great day.
We will. Coach Williams here on Ustream, HurricaneSports.com. We'll kick it back inside to Joe and Don momentarily.